Hello everyone and welcome to another instalment of my uni experience. So, university is nearly over. The end is near, my to-do list is clear, and it's time for a beer, I think. As we discuss what I believe to be the final things that I have to do for year one of university. So last video took you round about to the middle of April. And will take you, this one now will take you up to about the middle to the end of May. Now, in the last video, I'd made a graph which showed all the results that I've had since we've come back, which I'll show here. This is the old graph. We have since had more results back, which I'll take you through by each module individually, with any updates on it and with any results that we've had back since. So let's begin with the biggest thing. The Greek theatre module. Now, since November even, we've been working on this on and off, just before the end of Beautiful Creatures, right? And then after Beautiful Creatures, that's the main thing that we were working on, because the deadline initially was to be the Easter holidays. Our team worked hard with the circumstances we had, which I'm not going to say here, because reasons, but if you know me in real life, you probably know. We faced quite a lot of struggles during our rehearsals, and we talked to our lecturer about it. He helped us massively, bless him. He was good, he was decent. Anyway, we had been having 2 to 4 rehearsals the week leading up to the deadline, and our assessment was on the 29th of April, which was a Monday, right? But the day before we had a rehearsal. I was meant to be in work 9 to 5. So on the Friday that we decided to have the rehearsal, I had to phone into work to explain. For once, work was lenient on this, because I've tried to get rid of my shift many times because there's a group chat thing, right, that we have to do, and an online thing we have to do, but nobody ever wants shifts, right? And it happens to everyone, because I've picked up a few shifts now for people with the idea that they would do the same for me. So, yeah. For that to happen once, you know, good. I managed to get work off for rehearsals. Now, the £80-ish that I would have got would have been nice, but university has to always take priority, of course. I woke up at about 6-ish and I was out of the house. I was waiting for the buses for about 20 minutes and one hadn't come, and then it hit me, right? It was Sunday. The buses only come once every hour on a Sunday, starting at 9 AM-ish, which was really inconvenient. My family were mostly all asleep, and I wasn't going to ask them to take me to the train station, so I booked a taxi. I was at the train station then for about 7-ish. It was about £15, which isn't great, but hey-ho. It was a step closer to Cardiff. Then I went to book a train, and the same thing was true. No trains until 10:30-ish in the morning. Now, with all the problems that my team had been going through, keeping it vague for safety, I wasn't going to be 2 hours late for our practice. Because I had never been late before for a practice. I had never been late. I was always on time or early. We were all generally really good at that. But just, yeah. I managed to get the bus to Newport, and I was there then for 8-ish at Newport. I arrived in Newport for about 8 o'clock-ish, and there was a train at 8:50. So I arrived in Cardiff for about 9:30-ish, so only 40 minutes late. So, I didn't know that the trains don't run as often as they do on a Sunday and on a weekday. Well, that's fun. So I got in for about 7:30-ish. Same for the buses though, so I had to get a taxi to come round. We got there for about 7:30, 8-ish, I'm not sure. Realised that there's no train until 11:10. And this was our last practice as well, so it was essential that we had as much time as we could. We did manage to get everything done, we had some good run-throughs, and we eventually called it a day. Then it became the next day. We had to be in for 9 for our performance practices. It's finally happened. It's the day of our Greek theatre module. We got to perform it. I'm a bit nervous for it because, yeah, we've been doing it since like before Christmas, but we'll see how it goes. We had a run through, we had some acting advice, and while some other groups were practicing their thing, their shows, I was advised to change my costume because it was too formal. But all those years of not caring how I look are finally coming back to haunt me. I've got to have my hair be spiky at the middle. I've never styled my hair because I don't care how I look. But yeah, it sort of looks like it's over to one side, doesn't it? I don't know. I mean, yeah, that was fair enough looking back actually. My new costume was much better for the character. I spiked the top of my head and my costume, I can't do it now, my costume was complete. I just put a bit of water so it stayed up. At 2 PM we all met in a class for our performances. In between each one, the group would set up for their thing and my team were first. Everyone left the room. We set up our bag of props backstage, so the baby heads, we got the circle ready, and we were ready once everything was all set up. And as of writing and performing this, we haven't had these back to watch, and I don't think I would have permission to put it online anyway, unless it was just a small bit of it. But either way, we haven't had it back yet, so I can only show photos.
Ring around the rosy.
We did our performance, it went well, we had our applause and so on, and then we swapped with the next team. It was such a relief being over. 6 months of on and off work had been leading up to this day, and it was finally all over. After each team had done theirs, we were all brought back into the room, had a brief discussion about how it all went, and we all go home. And just like that, it was over. We finished our Greek theatre module. We've been working on this pretty much since like November. It's insane. We were working on it. We were meant to do it in Easter, but things stopped being done. But today, the 29th of April, it finally got done. We had like 4 hours of rehearsals. Then about 2 o'clock we performed. My group was first. It went really well. We got recordings of it, like a recording of it with photos, and I'm just so glad it's over now. You took over a thing there, took over the pavement thing, rock. One less thing to worry about, but we've got a few more things to do, including a blog, and the performance of the group will last, I don't think it's exaggeration to say, 5-6 months, is now over. I went back to my accommodation and then I went and laid in bed. We had been practicing and working for like 4 hours on this day, and then actually doing our overall performance after it was enough to tire me out. Around about half of the class then went for food and drinks at Wetherspoons. It was a nice way to celebrate the end of that module because, oh my God, it dragged. I want to talk about some more grades that we've been given. Now, this grade I'm going to mention was our group PowerPoint thing we did back in March the 5th. So pretty much 2 months after doing it, 2 months and a half now. It's scary how time flies. I discussed doing this in part 10 of this series. On the 8th of May, we had an email with 2 marks on them. The first one was the overall group mark that we all had, that my team had, and the second one was your individual mark. Let me explain, or mansplain if you're in my class and you already know. So your group as a whole had a mark for the content and performing aspect of your PowerPoint, but then at the end of them we had to grade each other as in who put the most and least work in. Those who thought they did the most should be at the top, those who did the least at the bottom. Now back then this caused a bit of a moral panic for me at the time, but looking back, because I didn't want to vote. I didn't want to do a vote, but we did. And looking back, it was a bit obvious. Our group had a mark of 75, which is a very strong first, but my individual mark was 77. I was so happy seeing this. We struggled a lot doing this because someone in our group kept not turning up, and we had to cut them out of the thing altogether. But the rest of our group pulled together, we smashed it. The fact that we used puppets, and our audience liked the fact that we used puppets, because they laughed, was always promising. And I've added this to my bar chart of marks that we've had back. I'm hoping that I do get a first overall this year, but it's a shame that it doesn't contribute to our final overall grade at the 3 to 4 years I'm going to be at university. It should count, but it doesn't. All hail King Ubu. I notice I've dedicated a section on my shelves as a memory towards that. And there's also sort of memories of everything that we've done over the year. But yeah, 77 added onto the bar chart. I treated myself on this day as well. It was a Wednesday, so there was no lessons. I went on the Queen Street Carousel, which I've always wanted to try since the start of the year, but I never did until now. Since I've come to university, I've always seen this big carousel on Queen Street. I really want to try it. I'm finally doing it. I'm treating myself for the mark, for my mark I got for the PowerPoint. I love being childish, it's great. I'm treating myself. I'm on this big carousel in the middle of Queen Street. Am I allowed up here? Actually, I would have thought so. Oh. Temptation got the better of me. I'm finally on the carousel on Queen Street. Way. It was very enjoyable. I went on the top deck and I enjoyed it. Then I went for a walk around Cardiff. I had a bit of an introvert day, going to nice places on a strict budget. I went to Cathay Park, where we had one of our outside performance lessons that we had to use for our portfolio lesson. I went to a different part of Butte Park and sat under a tree in the shade for a while. And then my trip took me through Cardiff Castle as I went back home to learn my lines for Dissociate. It was a nice few hours to relax until I went out again to Primark to buy my costume for Dissociate, which I'm going to talk about now. I play an insecurity guard. I did play an insecurity guard for our piece from the wonderful world of Dissociate. It's meant to be weird and bizarre because the place takes place inside the main character's head because she has some mental disorders. We're having our insecurity guards be quite camp, with jean shorts and white t-shirts for the costume, with hats because it's meant to be a very comedic piece. We have also had our marks back for the theatre reviews we had to do. This was my least favourite module because I didn't enjoy writing them. Anyway, the 21st of May we got them back, which was yesterday in fact, as I do this, perform this. In the afternoon, because I did an essay acting job for a show I'd never done before in the morning from 9 till 12ish. I got back to my accommodation about 1 o'clock-ish, and our marks were sent to us about 1:30. Now this was the module that I believed to be my worst because of how bad I thought I did. Over the course of this year we have seen 7 shows as a class, and we had to pick 4 to 5 of them to review and to use with a word limit overall of 2,500 or 2,750 with the 10% max leeway. Now I did 6 out of 7 of them. I don't know why I didn't do one of the theatre reviews, but there we go. I did see it, but I never wrote one. Anyway, I was ready to pick my 5, but my word count exceeded the limit grossly. Like each review that I made was like 800 to 1,000 words long. We were told to do about 1.5 pages though, which I did, so it was a bit confusing as to why we were told to do so much when we were told I just had to cut it down afterwards. Anyway, I finally did manage eventually to cut it down. It was a struggle, but I did manage to send it in weeks ago. And on the 21st of May, on the 21st of May we were given our feedback. I read the notes, some positives, some negatives. I saw the marks, and 70 out of 100. I just scraped a first. Now I was genuinely surprised because I thought I'd messed it up a bit, having to cut out a lot of the work. But it caught me off guard, and it was a pleasant surprise indeed. Naturally, I added the mark to my bar chart I made of all my grades. I know it's nerdy, but yeah. I don't want to sound boasty or cocky or something, but this is a series based around my university life where I will talk about my, experiences. So I will. But I'm very proud of how I've done this year, at least so far, because the other results I've yet to get could be awful. I don't know. But everything we've had back so far has been over 70 out of 100, apart from one which was 68 out of 100. So on average, I should get a first, which is the highest mark or grade boundary. Next, I want to talk about It's My Shout. Now, at the start of the year, I actually applied to do an audition to create a documentary, and mine's going to be about how the Welsh Government, are the Welsh Government doing enough to promote the Welsh language? But I didn't get approved for this, unfortunately. There did turn out to be another opportunity, though, to apply to be in one of their short films. So I did. On the 17th of April, it was a very busy day. I had a driving lesson 10:30 to 12:30, so I had to hurry up and get the bus to the train station. Just a normal guy eating pot noodle on the bus. I don't know what to expect from this audition. It's from 2 till 5. I'm hoping it'll be on time. I've got half an hour and I've got to get the train and walk. So fingers crossed. I might be able to do it, probably just. But at the start of this audition thing, they talk about the company and the process and all. And then, I don't know how it's going to work from then. Are we going to be assigned a time? Is it going to be you, then you, then you, then you, then you? I ain't got a clue. But we had to have a monologue learned before then, but which would have been fine. We were told to have it ready day before yesterday, so I had 2 days to learn it, which is fine. Bit of a struggle, but there we go. But we're gonna see how it goes. I've got one learned. I'm doing the one I did for in the class. So after the driving lesson for 1, to get the train, which was at 1:30. The chat was at 2, I believe. Now, I was very happy on this day because it was during this lesson that I was told to book my driving test. It is now booked for the middle of August, and I'm both excited and nervous because it's my way out of the hellhole that is learning to drive. I've hated learning to drive and it stressed me the hell out, but as soon as I can do it, it's going to be one of my biggest achievements. Being told to book the test was amazing to hear. I didn't have to be told twice. I arrived in Cardiff at about 1:50ish and I ran to my uni where the auditions were taking place. And I made it literally just in time. Now, there were two parts to this audition. The first part was doing a monologue that we got to choose. I did the same one that I made for my solo PowerPoint for the film versus theatre one. It's been a year now. They say that time is the greatest healer, but I'm not so sure anymore. I can't talk to anyone about this. I wouldn't know where to begin anyway, and you don't want to be a burden to anyone, so I keep it to myself and vent it out in these video journals. I kept your old aftershave, and I wear it sometimes. And when I close my eyes, sometimes it makes it easier to imagine that you're still there. And then I open my eyes back to reality, and I don't know what to say anymore. I love you, Dad. I miss you. I was challenged to make a serious performance because I mostly do funny or comedic stuff, so I did. But yeah, I did that monologue, it went really well, and then they asked you a few questions about you, why you into acting, why did you choose that monologue, and stuff like that. Then I had to wait in the uni lobby whilst everyone else went in, and then we were all called back in to do a script read / performance. Now, me and this girl performed a scene, everyone else did theirs, and then that was that. For about a week, I got an email saying I'd been called back for an audition, round 2 auditions on the 13th of May. I made it through round 1, promising. In the email, it invited us to go to both Lock Studios for the second audition. This is where they film Casualty and Publicum, where I've done lots of essay work. I do love a good challenge. I had 2 days to learn it, not forgetting our other script for Dissocia, which was the day after round 2 auditions. So jolly times! I can update you on this. During the time we went to Lock Studios, I got an Uber with 2 people from my class who were also going. We were all taken to this room and they go over the script. Now, during my audition, I knew the script, I performed it off by heart, I made them laugh. I think they enjoyed my interpretation of the character, so fingers crossed. Everyone gets called in. We were there for like 2 hours, I think, ish, around about that. And then they say, right, if we don't call your name, you're free to go. But they did call my name, so I made it to round 3 auditions. When we were during round 1 auditions, there were about 30 of us. For round 2 auditions, there were about 12 of us. For round 3 auditions, there were 6 of us. Now I want to say that there are 4 characters here, but 2 are male-led. Is it? Yeah, 2 are male-led, 2 are female-led. But out of those 6, there are 3 boys and 3 girls left. And only 2, I was going to swear then, only 2 roles can be covered. So 1 boy and 1 girl out of those 6 are not going to get a role. So I'm hoping I get one. My odds are 2 out of 3. Oh, fingers crossed. But only time will tell. Hopefully in the next video I'll be able to say that I got the part. But I don't know, I don't want to jinx myself. Now, university is nearly over. We have 2 main things to do. Well, back then it was nearly over, now it is over. Our Greek theatre devised blog was one of them, and our final group performance based off 1 or 2 plays that we've read as a class. We've read Constellations and The Wonderful World of Dissocia, and we had to perform a scene from either of them. Now, initially it was to be 3 of us, but this was changed for reasons. And then it became another 3 of us. There was me, Christian and Casey. We read the script and we were doing a scene where the main woman enters the land of Dyssocia and meets some insecurity guards. We staged it, we talked about costumes, and we planned what to do. We did have to cut a bit of our scene though, because after a while another character enters, and yeah, we only had 3 of us. So we edited that bit out of our script. This did change though when we added Belle into our group. Again, for reasons that I'm keeping vague, because it's not my place to say, but there are now 4 of us in our group, and that was our group were able to do the scene that we were going to do initially, but properly as it was, without cutting it. It made sense adding it in, and I think we sort of rescued Belle from the depths, trying to do a monologue, sort of fishing them out of the waters of danger. I don't know, but it was Christian's idea, bless him, and a very good idea at that. As of writing this, it was the 11th of May, and we had our last practice on the Thursday, where it was almost perfect. We haven't had long as a class to learn this though, because we were given 2 weeks from the start of this to performance day to get everything done. It was scary. 14 days to learn like 10 to 14 pages of words, plan the costume, plan the lighting, plan the staging. A fun challenge though. It was a fun challenge. I can update you on this. So May the 14th came and went. I woke up at 9ish, and my group came into practice 10 till 1 before the assessment. Our final performance is in 2 hours. Our final assessment. Well, actually, final assessment. We've got to do another. We'll do a blog online, but it's a final performance, definitely. We haven't had long to do this, so but I love a good challenge. When I get nervous, sometimes I stutter, but most of the time I smile when I get nervous. I don't know why, because I can tell you now, internally I'm not smiling. But yeah, final performance. Didn't have long to do it, but I think we might be able to pull it off. Yeah, we're gonna see how we go and go from there. Most of the class were gathered around the main uni lobby to discuss it or chat in their groups. I was particularly nervous about this one because it was almost the same as the other performance I did, where I played Persephus in our Greek theatre module, assessment for 4 module, but in such a small fraction of the time. Like, we had 6 months for that one, but then 2 weeks for this, and yeah, it was insane. So we had to do it in 1/12 of the time. It was a challenge, but it got the adrenaline running, so you know, why not, eh? Now, just before 2, the class met outside the room and were chatting about what was going to happen. Now, I couldn't think of anything else, and I was really nervous for this. Like, when we're due to go on for a performance or something, it's all I can think about, and I'm constantly going over my lines. I was quite nervous for this, more than normal, and I'm normally quite good with nerves before a performance. But yeah, anyway, we go into the room where we will be performing, and we're going to push everything as a class into a corner so each group had enough space. My group were third to go. We watched the first 2, and then we had to set up our chairs as we performed ours in the round. Now, it was quite scary doing this because as a group, we had not had a run through where everything went perfectly due to the lack of time that we had as a group, because we didn't have much time to do it. But yeah, that's what I was scared about. But eventually, the time came for us to take our positions and begin the show. It went perfectly. Our first perfect run through was the performance for the assessment. When everyone was watching, the first live performance. We had quite a lot of laughs, which is always promising when you're playing a funny character. The performance ends, we get our applause, The next group goes up, and we were so relieved that we managed to nail it. Anyway, after every group had performed and it was all over, we went to Wetherspoons for a class afternoon lunch, where I had a lovely fish and chips and a Coke for about an hour and a half, but I couldn't stay for too long because I had to have this Welsh call thing. More on this later. After this Welsh thing though, me and Loki went to a gig that he invited me to because his parents had a spare ticket and I was invited, bless them. I met them outside of the club for 7:30 and we went to Wetherspoons initially because this club wasn't open yet. So we stayed at Wetherspoons, I had my Coke and we were just discussing Doctor Who. We finished our drinks, went into the club. I had an apple cider. I don't remember what Loki had, but we chatted about how stuff was going, just catching up, enjoying the music. I'd never heard of any of it before, or any of the bands that played, but apparently his parents loved them. Yeah, I mean, it was good music too. It was good music. I didn't know what it was, but it was quality music. It was quite packed in the club, so we headed towards the back, but this meant that we could go around back outside as well and get fresh air, get drinks from the bar which was right next to us if needed. I went on the hard stuff for my next drink and I had an orange juice. I had been having a thing for orange juice back then and lately. I don't know why. Anyway, for the final band, this was the main one. We managed to get to the front so we could see them play. Now, I had no idea how to dance in a club. It's sort of that sort of thing, isn't it? I don't know. I had to look around for inspiration, but I think I got it. I had a whale of a time though. Eventually the gig ended and we left the club. I said bye to Loki and his parents and I went back to mine. Shemai, so today is the 14th of May. It's been a long day today, but a brilliant day. I've loved it. So first thing that happened was my final acting assessment. Me, Christian, Casey and Belle were in a group for this and it went really well. We did a funny piece and people laughed. Success. Then as a class, or as a most class, we went to Wetherspoons. I had a lovely fish and chips. Afterwards then I had a Welsh call for this thing where if I attend these things I get £100. And then, afterwards, me, Loki and his parents went to this gig in a club in Cardiff. I really enjoyed it. My first gig that I've seen, and oh my god, it was really good. The music was really, really, really good. I really enjoyed it. So thank you to Loki and his parents. Yeah, for a smashing time. That was my first ever gig that I'd ever been to, and I really enjoyed going. So thank you to Loki and his parents. Yeah, that was a great experience. Now I want to take you back to before I had my accommodation for the next thing. Back when myself was a full-time commuter. Now I've got the best of both worlds. It's brilliant. I missed out on a chance back then to see Doctor Who being filmed because they were filming in Cardiff at midnight when I was home. Some people in the class got to go, those that live in Cardiff, but those of us back then who didn't live in Cardiff couldn't, obviously. I was so jealous. I never got to see him filming the Christmas special. But not long after, I got accommodation, and as a result, I was able to have more experiences, like going to see Jonathan, meeting Russell T Davies, going out occasionally, watching Jimmy Carr. There's all sorts, and I love it. And on the 23rd of April, Christian knew from some Twitter thing that they were filming Doctor Who late at night. So we all went to go and see. I quickly got ready, and we met outside my accommodation. We went to the filming site, which was next to Cardiff Central, and we watched. Now, we went quite late. It was just before midnight that we went. Going to see Doctor Who get filmed, hopefully. I missed the first time we went to class, because I didn't live in Cardiff. I was a commuter. So I don't want to miss my second chance. We didn't see much happening, but we saw a bit. Something happens, and Ruby Sunday with the new companion scream and hold on to each other. Again, we didn't see much, but the fact I was finally able to go made me happy. We took some pictures, we stayed for a while, and I went back to my accommodation. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning by the time I got back. Now I want to mention the anime convention. Yeah. Now my sister loves anime, Demon Slayer to be more specific, and I don't understand a word of it, but I went along for the experience. I met my mum and sister in Cardiff. It was Sunday the 14th of April, so 5 days after my 19th birthday, and we went to the student union section of Cardiff Uni, where they were hosting this anime thing. There was all sorts of anime themed stalls and stuff going on, like voice actors you could meet, music you could listen to by actors, and more. You could watch anime being streamed live. That was cool. I didn't have a clue who or what was what, but my sister loved it, bless her. She was in cosplay as this character from Demon Slayer that I'll put on the screen. See if you know them. Anyway, after looking around some of the stalls and stuff, we had a bubble tea thing, which was nice. Mine was blood themed, but tasty, very tasty. It was not bad for a drink made out of the blood of victims. After looking around more shops, stalls, and other anime themed goods for a good few hours, we were there for about 6 hours, I think, roughly. We left the place and we went to go and get food. We went to Ed's Diner here in Cardiff, and I had a lovely cooked breakfast. A breakfast fit for a king. After that, my mum and sister went back home on the train while I stayed in Cardiff because I had another week ahead for uni. It was a really nice day out though, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I don't watch anime at all. I used to watch one called Inazuma 11, which was football, but they have powers. And Pokemon, I used to love that too, but I haven't watched it since. Now I want to talk about the acting roleplay opportunity. On the 9th of May, I had an email where they were looking for roleplay students. And I thought to myself, why not? You know, it's an experience, I wasn't doing anything, and they're offering £16 an hour to do it. And as a student, that sort of money it's hard to turn down. I said I could do the 14th and 15th of May. Now this took place on a different campus owned by the university, so I had to get the train.
Shemai, so today is the 15th of May. I'm doing this acting roleplay thing from 9 to 5, but at £16 an hour, so it's going to be quite a lot of money, which will be very helpful. Only thing is, I had to wake up about 6 o'clock. I'm now walking to the train station because I've got to be elsewhere. Yeah, let's see how it goes. A nice healthy breakfast at Cardiff Central to start the day.
And then walk a bit to get to the different campus, which wasn't bad. You know, I was spending like £8 to earn 128, so bargain. On both days I was given my notes and I had to read them. I was told that I didn't have to learn them, but over time as it goes on it'll come to you naturally, which it did, to be fair. On days 1 and 2 I was playing a student who had Crohn's disease. The medical student would ask me questions and I had to look at the sheet and read off the info on it to them. So I think the idea is to sort of force the student to have to be meticulous and get all the info they need themselves. For example, they would ask me what are my symptoms, and I have to go to the symptoms. My symptoms are this, this and this. Yeah. Now, the 14th to 15th I played the same character, the patient with Crohn's, but then at the end of the second one, I was asked if I was available on the 22nd, to which I was, which is today actually. It's the 22nd today, and I've been there all day. So I did this third day, and today I was a patient with meningitis. Jolly times. There's something quite amusing to me about being paid £16 an hour with a paid break and £6 dinner voucher just for literally sitting in a hospital bed reading this sheet of paper. Or it's more like this sheet of paper. I could quite happily do that as a full-time job. Better than $11.62 at McDonald's an hour. Do you know what I mean? I was going to make a big McDonald's versus roleplay comparison list, but I better not, because because knowing my luck, someone at work will report it in hopes of managerial brownie points. I know what they're like. Anyway, the three days I was there were really entertaining, and I enjoyed it. I liked being able to watch the examiners mark the students after they left, discussing their work so critically, and just listening to them. It was really interesting. It gave me an impression of what it's like when my lecturers mark my work. I'm so glad I did this, because not only was it a really interesting experience, but as a student it'll help a lot financially, and I can list it as another acting job that I've done. So yeah, I'm very happy that I've done it. Now I want to talk about the Doctor Who convention. So on the 19th of this month, so 3 days ago, I went to Barry with Loki, and there was a Doctor Who convention thing going on. We went on the Sunday, it was there Saturday and Sunday. I had work, 5 till 11ish, and then my mum dropped me off at the train station, and I was back here for about midnight on the 19th. At around about 6 o'clock-ish, the following morning, I got dressed into my cosplay. I was cosplaying as the 10th Doctor, but with the 4th Doctor scarf as well. A few days before, I had gone to Primark and I bought this long trench coat, because I already had the shirt and stuff from my uncle's wedding years ago. I'm the Doctor. The navy t-shirt and trousers were from my uncle's wedding years ago, so they don't fit me as well as they used to. This is from Primark, and I'll take it back after I finish on Sunday. I don't have any Converse shoes, so trainers will do. And my hair, David Tennant's hair is sort of a bit messy, so be a something like that. There we go. The shoes are a bit of a letdown, but the rest of it, I'd say that is quite good. I quite like that. But by buying that at Primark, I was able to fully cosplay as the 10th Doctor. I met Loki at Cardiff Central around about 9:30ish. We got the train. We were there then in Barry for about 10 o'clock, or just after 10ish. We walked to the place, and we show our ticket, and we go in. Now, there was loads of stuff. There was loads of stalls, not even just exclusive to Doctor Who. There was all sorts of geeky stuff and Comic-Con-y stuff. But the main reason I was there was for the Doctor Who. There was, as you walk in, there was comics, tarot stuff, Ghostbusters, Pokemon, Doctor Who, Star Wars. There was all sorts. And I went to this Doctor Who stall, and they were selling these Cybermen figures. It was 2 for £6. I don't know if you can see them very well on camera, but there's 2 up there. They're both up there. There's a stall as well, full of props that were used in the show, right? Half of it was stuff that the stall owner knew what it was from, but then the other half was a competition. You had to try and work out where the things were from, which I tried to do, but I couldn't work out any of it. Some of it was really obvious, like a drill. There's only so many episodes of Doctor Who where there's a drill, but some of them were really obscure, like a tap thing. There's loads of episodes where you'd have a tap thing. So yeah, that was impossible. I didn't manage to do it. We kept walking around. There was all sorts of, it was brilliant. And it was cheap as well. Comic-Con are normally stupidly expensive, but overall for the day, I think I spent £50-60, £10 for the ticket to come in, £6 for the Cybermen, 16. I bought a DVD for like a £5, I think it was, so £21. But at this store, so there was a store that was selling DVDs and comics. But I was only looking at the store, so sort of browsing as you do. And then the owner of the stall was talking about what books he had. So, like, these books are from Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart's granddaughter. But the Brigadier's granddaughter isn't a canon character. It's all fan fiction. I'm not interested in it, and I don't read Doctor Who. That sentence probably could have finished 2 words ago. But I don't read Doctor Who, right? So, he spent ages, bless him, and he's like, these are what Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, these were his granddaughter, this is when I wrote about this and this. I wrote this and wrote about this and this. And he was there for like 5 minutes, bless him, talking about all his books. And he had some DVDs on the side as well. I felt really bad because I knew I wasn't going to buy any. But I bought a DVD based... it was a documentary of the 8th Doctor's TV movie. We left the store, and it was only after the Comic-Con that Loki told me that the people at the stall apparently were like, after all that, you only bought a DVD. The outrage, the cheek of that! Like, it's not my fault that he decided to put his heart and soul into it. Like... I didn't ask him to go into more detail about it. I was polite. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I was polite. I bought a DVD. I wasn't even going to buy the DVD, but I felt bad. Yeah. All that time and you only bought a DVD. How rude is that? Anyway, we carried on walking. I kept going. We went outside. Then we met a very Welsh joker. I can't do a very good Welsh accent. There was a Superman. There was a Pikachu. There was backdrops of stuff you could take photos with. We went outside and we were trying to work out where some of them props could have been from the show, but we never did. We spent like a solid 20 minutes on that on iPlayer. Fast forwarding through stuff to try and find it, but we were trying to find where that drill was from, but no, couldn't find it. It was baffling. It's baffled me. Now at the Doctor Who Comic-Con thing, they had guests there that had been in the Doctor Who show. This was the main reason I wanted to go, to be honest. I saw that certain actors were going to be there. I was like, I want to go. I want to get a DVD signed. So I did. I went there and I got this DVD of The Invasion signed by Fraser Hines and Wendy Padbury. It's so cool. This story is from 1968, I think. Yeah, 1968. First I went to Fraser Hines. I asked him if he can sign it. Fraser Hines plays a companion in this story called Jamie McCrimmon. It is a pure coincidence that Fraser Hines plays a character called Jamie McCrimmon, and that character is one of my favourite companions. He is my favourite of the classic era. So I went there, and it turned out that they only accepted cash. Now I had a bit of cash on me. Which reminded me, actually, I actually owe Loki some money. I haven't transferred Loki the money yet. I've got to do that. But yeah, that happened. I got what money I had. Loki had his money, and together we pooled it. I managed to get his autograph. I wanted to get his a photo with him as well, because it was I think it was 15 for a photo with him, which sounds extortionate, but if you go to a proper Comic-Con, it is so much more expensive. And he's my favourite companion, so, you know, I kind of wanted it, and I work, so I've treated myself. So we had to leave the Comic-Con event, go to a cash point, go back there. Then I got some photos with him. Loki took the photos on his phone. Then I was going to go to Wendy Padbury's stall, but she wasn't there, because as we were coming in, she was leaving. They all went on. They had all gone on lunch. So if I had the money, I could have had her autograph earlier, but it doesn't matter because we went outside then. After we had finished outside and we couldn't work out what the prop was from, we went back inside where we met Wendy Padbury. She plays Zoe in this story, a great companion to the Second Doctor, and she too signed my DVD. I didn't get a photo with her. I didn't fancy a photo with her, only Fraser Hines, because he's my favourite. So yeah, got that, and then afterwards we looked around for a little bit longer, and we left the Comic-Con. We were there for about a solid 2-3 hours, I think. It was so good there. Also upstairs there was like a Pokemon card section. We had a look up there. Neither of us were into Pokemon though, so we looked and we went back downstairs. Then we left the place. We were deciding what to do. But what we did was we went back to Barry train station. We got the train back to Cardiff. Went to Wetherspoons for dinner. I had a lovely mixed grill with Thatcher's Blood Orange. But after Spoons, Loki went back on the train. I went back to my accommodation. And then that was pretty much it for the day, really. I've printed. I'm in the process of printing out my photos that I took on the day. And Loki took on the day via Snapfish. So looking forward for them to come, because then I can add it to my photo album. I've actually got 2 of these. This one here, and then I don't know if you can tell, I've got this one here. But there. I love my photo albums. But yeah, that was the Doctor Who event. It was a brilliant day. I spent like £50, £61-ish altogether, but for an experience like that, why wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? I work at McDonald's so that I can do nice stuff like that, and I can spend money on what I want within reason. But I can treat myself because of my job, and it makes my job bearable. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, that has been the end of this video. Next video will probably be either the last one of this installment or the one after will be. It depends. I think the content of this video was initially going to be 2, but things have been really busy, so I'm just chucking it into one. Get it edited, get it done. So that's one thing that I'm up to date on as well. But anyways guys, thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Have a good day. Don't forget to drink hot chocolate. Stay safe, and for me, it is goodbye for now.
Dream just to watch them shatter. You're just a step on the boss man's ladder. You got dreams they'll never take away.
It was a bit funny. I mean, he comes up to me, starts asking me about God and will I accept Jesus Christ to be my Lord and Saviour, etc. And I just say, oh, sorry, I'm going to hell. I'm only running to this cars. Yeah, so he asks me. I say, oh, no, sorry, I'm going to hell. And I walk off. And then he just, he goes, oh, no. It's baffling, but I work a lot better, more efficiently. I feel much more awake in the early morning / evening. My laptop needs a good dusting. But I've been doing our Greek devised performance blog plan. I've done most of this in the last hour or so. About the last 2 hours. Got my laptop here, which is bearing toys on the telly. My iPad here, with what I need. I'm having a break in a bit. What I've done is I've just emailed this to my lecturer because I wanted to have a look at my plan. If it's good, then I'll begin with the WordPress bit, because we have to do our evaluation thing
but as an online blog. That's going to be fun. Going to a Doctor Who convention on Sunday, so I'm dressed like the 10th Doctor. I'm just a normal, average university theatre student, dressed as David Tennant from Doctor Who, with a small screwdriver, walking back from uni. Jolly times. This I had for my uncle's wedding like years ago, so it's a bit too small for me now. This I got from Primark, I'm taking it back.